I'm Dr. John, the EntreProfessor. Dr. John Wilson. I teach at the Close School of Entrepreneurship. I have a PhD in organizational leadership with a focus in entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurial leadership is really the common thread between the things that I've done both in my career in industry as well as in the academy. I worked in industry for over 20 years. I was in the technology industry. I worked for a software company. At one point, I moved in my career to teaching full-time, became part of the faculty at a large university, and started teaching students, both graduate students as well as undergraduate students. Yeah, so teaching's maybe a little different than I expected it to be. All right, let's dive in. Let's start with raise your hand if you've ever taken a class from me before. I know you are, but all right, so like about a third of you. Raise your hand if this is the first entrepreneurship class you've ever taken. All right, wow, okay, awesome. So this is gonna be fun. So I developed the Starters Toolkit early on when I first started teaching because I really wanted students to be able to see the entire entrepreneurial process at once. What I was finding when I talked to students, they would take a number of different entrepreneurship courses and they would understand each of the individual topics, but even students that have been in the program for a year or a couple of years were not seeing the forest through the trees and not seeing the big picture. So what I'm going to do is, hopefully, whether it's 40 hours or 90 hours, if you want to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to kind of give you a playbook. Each week I'm going to give you a new tool for the toolbox. That's what I call the Starters Toolkit. So what I want to do in this class is I want to give you the fundamental tools to know that you can. So a lot of times when someone's starting a new business, they may go and join what's called an incubator, and this is just a workspace and a lot of times a mentoring program to help someone to start a new business from scratch that maybe hasn't done it before and they're not even sure what all they should be thinking about. And what I really wanted the outcome to be is at the end of the course, students be able to say, I launched a startup. I actually started something while I was in school. If you have questions along the way, shoot me an email. See that? Nice. Awesome. Oh, glad to hear. Well, harder. The idea was that each week they would do a weekly build. So they would build something that advances the business so that if they came in with a business idea, at the end of 10 weeks, they would have 10 artifacts, prototypes, different mechanisms to move the business forward. And so in a lot of ways, they have a real business at the end of the 10 weeks. They can decide later whether they want to continue or pursue that business, but they've had an opportunity to go from idea to full working prototype or a pitch deck that they could go to investors and say, I've really vetted this idea and now I just need some capital to get it off the ground. And Dan, likewise, glad you're here. For everyone who's just joining us, let's get started. So welcome to Entrepreneurship and New Technology. If you have not been in an entrepreneurship class before, this will be a little bit of a unique thing for you just to begin with. And then even those of you that have studied entrepreneurship or are studying entrepreneurship, this class is going to be a very different kind of experience. We're going to really look at what are these emerging technologies, what do they represent, what opportunities they open up, and what methods are we going to use to commercialize those opportunities. A lot of discussion about AI in terms of like large language models and those kinds of things. Some of the agentic AI, where AI agents and blockchain technologies and some of the others that don't get as much press are really where a lot of the transformational technological change is happening and where there's a ton of opportunity for entrepreneurial activity. So that's really what this class is about. One of the most useful things in my mind that we did for students in entrepreneurship and new technology is we got them into the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency and digital technology hands-on. We were really blessed by having a co-instructor who was just enthusiastic about the topic, who was willing to essentially gift each of the students $10 worth of cryptocurrency. What we were really doing is using that small amount of crypto to be able to give them opportunities to try out some of the tools that are emerging because of digital technologies and digital assets. For those of you who have not taken my classes before, I've been here with the Close School of Entrepreneurship for almost 5 years now. I was in the technology industry. I worked for a company called Vertex, heavily involved with creating the technology entrepreneurship concentration at the Close School. And this is one of the kind of pure opportunities for doing entrepreneurship in emerging technology. So with that, I'm going to point the camera over here at David. Could you give us a little bit of a self-intro?
So I'm excited to be teaching with John. He and I both overlapped at Vertex. I was there for about 18 years, just left about 6 months ago to become a founder myself. I was always impressed with his curiosity, his enthusiasm, and quite frankly, his intelligence.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Robert Morier. I'm one of the professors here at the Close School of Entrepreneurship. I work very closely with Professor Wilson. I teach all of the investing side of venture capital. I'm the person who looks at that company and decides how much it's worth, and we try to help you evaluate how much that company is worth because we are going to need to raise money at some point. Inevitably, every business needs assets, it needs capital in order to grow.
One of the things we're going to do in this course is compare two different approaches. One is the analytical method and one is the lean startup method. Some advocate really strongly in favor of one of these versus the other. I think they're two sides of the same coin, or at least very, very heavily integrated with each other. In some ways, the analytical method is a lot of looking at all the conditions around the business opportunity, whereas the lean startup is going in and like actually, getting out there and seeing what happens. David, maybe if you could just walk us through when you think general terms of what is the lean startup methodology and how does it play out in reality?
I guess the catchphrase that I keep in my mind around the lean startup is, in God we trust, everyone else bring data. And so what it does is it takes the scientific method. So how do we uncover new knowledge in science? We run experiments, right? Edison famously ran, thousands of experiments, different filaments in his light bulb, and they didn't work. And finally he hit it on it, it worked, right? So we do the same thing. We run experiments, right? Don't trust anything. It's kind of Reagan, maybe you trust, but you got to verify. And how do you verify? Well, you run an experiment. It's a data-driven approach. You have to kill things. You kill off your ideas. In fact, the lean startup is focused on killing the bad ideas more than it is finding the good idea, because you assume most of your ideas are crap, right? Even if you think it's great, don't fall in love with your idea. It's not a pet. And so that's the methodology. Think about the scientific method, bring it into operating a startup.
Yeah. What do you hope students that take this class, what do you hope they take away from it?
I mean, I've been extremely impressed with the quality and caliber of the students. I think it opens their eyes, at least I hope it does. It opens their eyes to how these new technologies, and there'll be another one, a couple of years from now, who knows what it is, how these new technologies open up markets and expand the options for solving real problems out in the world.
You just don't know if a product's going to sell until you make the first sales call. And you're going to be doing these lean startup experiments. You're going to be jumping in with technology. You're going to be, creating a wallet. You're going to be, creating agents to do things. So at the end, what you'll do as a team is you're going to put a documentary together on like, what did we do? What did we experience? That's going to be your way to kind of showcase all the work that you're doing. As I mentioned earlier, if we come up with something amazing and it turns into a unicorn startup, then we can all be billionaires together. That would be fantastic.
That would be cool.